When I was 5, my grandfather took me to buy the gun that he would later use to shoot himself and my grandmother with in a public parking lot. Both of my parents faced many years of generational trauma, and the trauma that my birth mom endured made her turn to drugs. This sent her life spiraling, and mine as well, and this is where my trauma starts. When my little brother was born, I was 12. This caused my parents even more stress because there was another little one they had to take care of. I had to become a parent. As a child, I would come home from middle school and I would feed him, I would put him to bed. He was like a child to me. There was a lot of fighting, so when my parents were home, it was very loud in the house. The power would often go out, so I would spend the night at my friends for days or weeks at a time, but I would eventually come back home to check in on my little brother. The day I came into care was hectic. My parents were fighting incredibly loud that night, and I went to school the next day to do finals, and then my counselor pulled me into her office and told me that I wasn't going to be going home and that there was a social worker there to talk to me. I talked to the social worker and she said that both of my parents were not fit to care for me anymore and that I would not be going home and I wasn't allowed to go get any of my belongings, and I lost my whole identity, sense of self, and everything I owned in a single sentence. When I was put in the foster care system, I went straight into a group home that was run by staff instead of parents. It was a teen group home, so I was there with a bunch of teens who had also been taken from their families. I was there for 2 months. The normal stay is usually a couple days. When I moved into a foster home, I didn't know them, and I felt very alone and misunderstood. Having a stranger act as your parent is very intimidating and scary. I don't know how they're going to react to anything, and feeling physically safe is different than feeling emotionally safe. The goal of foster care whenever possible is to reunify and restore families. Unfortunately, this was not possible for my family. The foster care system places teens in a box that they can't escape. A lot of families understand that teens come with a lot of trauma because of what they've been through, and they treat them differently for this. Most adoptive families want babies or younger children, so that way they can start fresh, start new, or not have to deal with the trauma that's already there. I knew this about the foster care system and decided that I should advocate for my little brother to have the family that I've always wanted to have. I didn't think that there were any homes that were looking to adopt the both of us. So when my attorney told me that there was a family looking at both of us, I was extremely shocked. I didn't believe it at first, but then I met them at a park and they were funny and weird and had tattoos, and they were intentional with me, and I'd never had intentionality with any other of my caregivers like how it was with them. They weren't just talking to my little brother, but they were also talking to me. They would ask me about my favorite shows, my favorite animals, what I like to do, what I was thinking about doing in the future, and it felt weird because I'd never had an adult pursue me in that way. We spent a couple of weeks getting to know these people, and then 3 weeks later we moved in with our garbage bag suitcases. From that moment on, I belonged to them. My faith when I was in foster care was non-existent. If there truly was a God, how could he let me go through such heartbreak and trauma and still be a good, loving God like everybody said that he was? My adopted parents were Christian and attended a local church, and because of the way they pursued me and loved me, I wanted to go as well. I remember feeling lost and scared and unsure of myself, and then I learned about the hope and healing of Jesus. I now understand that he used all of my deep and hard gut-wrenching parts of my story for good. I know that he was watching over my brother and I the whole time. He had a plan. He was writing my story, and he still is.